But here's the thing: the way we're going to lay this out, there's a finite number of human needs. They're they are generalized across all the people that you're going to meet and run and talk to. And if your service doesn't meet their needs today, and we're starting with those fundamental human needs, there might be a time in the future that it does. So you want to protect that relationship. Not only that, when you treat each client right, they become a source of referral. So one of the things we want to think about is we want to constantly be filling our pipeline with referrals, whether it's from people who've bought or people that you've interacted with. And some of those referrals can become centers of influence where they really buy into what you're doing, your product or service, and that results in them sending more and more people your way. If you are in sales, don't feel like I'm not going to be speaking to you. Just recognize that you may not have the luxury to do some of the things that we talk about on the roadmap. A big part of it was the takeaway that when it didn't meet, you closed the door. You decided, and that's a part of it. You decide when the sales process is over. It's like priming, and they begin to feel like they know what you're talking about. So you have to be careful because it can go both ways. You don't want to position your product or service as something else. You don't want to bring up things that might take a person down a path that's not supportive of what you're attempting to do. And then I'll talk about the 7 factors of unconscious influence. Now, I met Robert Cialdini in 1990 or so, right around the time, or just shortly after he wrote the book Influence. And he spoke on stage for a while. And one of the things he said is in that time, he was really adamant about not using this for bad, right? He made it a point that this was about helping people protect themselves from being tricked or persuaded against their will or desires. But as you know, people are going to do what people do. And he still talks about that. In his book, Persuasion, he talks about it as well. But the book Persuasion was written more for the people on the marketing side, whereas Influence, interestingly enough, was written for people for protection, sort of like defense as opposed to offense.